Welcome to another episode of Bench Burner Sports. We appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode. This one's going to be a fun one. There's no card this weekend. We're filming on July 2nd. So this episode may not come out till next week. We don't know, but there is no card this weekend. So we're going to be doing, as we do every year, our mid-year awards. So we're excited to talk about that. We've got a few categories. I think we've got Fighter of the Year, Fight of the Year, KO of the Year, Sub of the Year, Event of the Year, and Breakout Star of the Year. We're super stoked to talk about this. It's always a fun episode every year that we do it. And I think this is, year 3. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, 3 or 4. I don't know. We appreciate you guys tuning in. It's always a fun one. So we'll kick it off here shortly. Knuckles, what's up, bud?
Oh man, I'm here. I'm ready to go. I'm excited. I'm ready to talk about some things that have happened this year. I'm a little bit tired, so bear with me, but I am hanging in there. And yeah, I'm. It's been a year of fights. I'll say that it's not been the most grandiose year of fights, but it's been a year of fights. And regardless, I am excited to talk about it, especially coming off of. Well, we'll talk about that later, but UFC 317. So yeah. Anyway, Squared, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to kind of comb through the first half of the calendar year with y'all. I think it's been, honestly, hot take, I think it's been a good year. I just think some of the cards have been so bad.
I think it started off just really bad.
Started off rough, but I think some of the cards have just been so bad that it's hard to remember that, like, the last 3, at least the last 3 pay-per-views have been, like, really solid really with good. A handful of great fight nights in between. Regardless, follow us on our social medias. That's what I'm here to talk about. Follow us on our socials, X at bench_burner, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, all the other places at Bench Burner Sports. You'll find us there. Drop a comment. Let us know what y'all think for all these categories of, Fighter of the Year, Knockout of the Year, all those. Give us your picks. Drop a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's do this.
Yeah, that's the only reason I let Squirt out of his cage is to
my chastity cage.
It's the only reason I let him out of his cage is to plug our socials. So we'll get right into it, starting out with Fighter of the Year. This one was kind of tough for me. It's hard because there's only one champion that's fought twice this year, and that was obviously Mayrob. Obviously, we're half the year in, so it's not just crazy irregular, but usually there are more champions that fight more than once. But we've also just had some weird situations in divisions where, like heavyweight, John Jones, that whole debacle. Light heavyweight, we had some injuries. Welterweight, we had some injuries. I mean, it's been so hit or miss as far as when champions are actually going to fight here in recently. But that being said, I don't know. This might be a kind of hot take, but to me, Fighter of the Year so far is Gian Silva. So I think the reason being, he fought Melsic, Bagdasarian, who obviously it's not aging as a great win, but he was a highly touted prospect when he first joined. A lot of people were high on him, me included. And then he finally got a top-tier fight against Bryce and did what he did against Bryce. So that being said, I think just looking at, like, who people have fought, there's some really good honorable mentions that you could put out there, but I got to go Gian Silva, I think. Knuckles, who do you think?
So on this one, I have like a 1A, 1B type of thing going on. And my Fighter of the Year so far, surprisingly, so like it's kind of it was a little tough, but my Fighter of the Year so far is Josh Van. Just what he's done this year, 3 consecutive fights, 3 consecutive very big wins for him, especially his most recent one against Brandon Royval. The fact that he went from number 12 to number 1, and actually starting the year, I think he was unranked, and now he's the number 1 contender 6 months into the year. That's just incredible. We might talk about him more later on going into this. But he's my fighter of the year. But there is a B side to this, and a guy who like I kind of equated as to equal, and that's Mayrob, just because his performance against Umar can't go unstated. Like that was a very good performance against a guy who was supposed to beat him. You know, that was what people thought was going to happen. And then also like what he did against Sean, who again, Sean kind of almost looked better in this fight. And then Rob just did what he did. So does what he does. So Rob's got to be the B side to this just because of his performances and the dominance in which he did both of them. The Umar fight was a little bit closer than people want to give it credit for, but I do have to say that Mayrob at the end coasted comfortably. But Josh, man, is 1A because of just the level from where he went to where he is now. I mean, he's going to fight for a title later on this year. That's
yeah. That
crazy.
was, and another reason I forgot to mention this. Another reason I picked Gian Silva is because he jumped over, or got over that hoop that a lot of people didn't think he would get over. I was wondering myself, and now he's got a fight lined up with Diego Lopez. So the dude's literally fighting for #1 contender shot.
Yeah.
So.
Headlining one of the bigger cards. That's probably one of the bigger fight nights that's going to happen this year at Noche. So,
yeah.
For me personally, for me personally, I went with which I like y'all's picks, but I went with the one that is probably going to be most prominent with the media when they release their website little things on this. I went with Ilya. I get that might be like a casual pick or maybe a recency bias pick, but one thing that can't be denied is that he is right now. We're watching him put up numbers as far as like viewership, talking about him. He's putting up numbers that we have not seen since Connor.
He's getting an HBO show.
Like the closest we thought that Pereira was getting like pretty big. Like this dude's putting up numbers on YouTube.
He's getting his own. He's getting his own HBO reality TV series.
Yeah.
So I mean that speaks volumes. But yeah, the only reason I didn't consider him as actual like fighter of the year is because he's only fought once. So
that's fair.
That fucking fight. I mean, what he did though.
It was nasty. Yeah, I can't deny that.
I think right now after his one fight, he's been the most talked about fighter in an MMA this year, just from his one fight. That's why I'm kind of going.
And that's the thing. It's been 3 days or whatever, 3-4 days or whatever.
Right.
You know, like, fuck.
No, but I mean, you got to point there to
his that clip is now over like 12 or 13 million.
Yeah. It's blowing up.
Yeah, he's becoming the new Connor. And did you see Connor? I think it was the night he beat Aldo. I believe it was the night he beat Aldo. I could be wrong. It was a long time ago when he won one of his belts. And Ilya Topuria said, "I'm gonna be you one day." And
you got Centel. You got Centel.
What?
MMA Centel posted that it was fake. Yeah, you got.
I thought Connor posted.
Yeah, no, Connor did post.
Connor posted that. You fucking asshole. Fuck you, dude.
Don't know if it was real, but Connor
Connor posted that. He said, "Fair play, lad." He put it on his Instagram story, I think. Somewhere. He put it somewhere.
I'm going to MMA Centel right now because
I'll fact check myself, but I know Connor put it somewhere.
I wouldn't look up Connor's Twitter because he deletes everything 10 minutes after.
I'm just looking up Connor Ilya.
It's on Centel, so it makes me think it's not real.
Speaking of Connor Aldo, and this is totally off topic, but I saw a screenshot of that tweet that I think it was Vanderlei had where he was like, "Let's go Aldo," and like in English, he's like, "Let's go Aldo," and then it's like 5 minutes later, he's like, I don't know how you say it in Portuguese, but he's like, "Mois dois." Like, my God, it just cracks me up.
Yeah, see, so Centel, I mean, you can't see my phone, but Centel was the one that posted it. That's what makes me think.
Yeah, but Connor posted it somewhere, but I don't know. I don't know. I know for a fact I saw it on one of Connor's accounts, but we'll see.
By the way, so yeah, for you guys that don't know, if you ever see anything posted by Centel, MMA Centel, it is more than likely fake, just because of because it's a parody account. But
well,
hey, Conor McGregor liked my post. Conor McGregor just liked one of my posts. There's that. What the fuck?
Just now?
Yeah, yeah.
What?
Yeah. Hang on 1 second. This is in real time. I'm gonna post it.
Actually?
Yeah, he liked one of my posts. Hang on. I just posted it. It's the one about they said who would win between Conor and Ilya. Conor at 205 at UFC 205 versus this version of Ilya. And my quote, and I will stand on this on God. So anybody in the comments that want to fight me on this, whatever.
That's
My
pretty
comment,
crazy.
yeah, my comment was, I don't give a fuck. So this is for the people. I don't give a fuck what you, your mama, your daddy, or your daddy's daddy got to say. Not a soul on this planet at 155 pounds beating Conor McGregor at UFC 205, and that's not glazing. That's on business. So there's that. I feel pretty good about that. Wow.
Wow, that's cool.
That's pretty cool. That's the second one. Hey, that's the second time he's liked it. He's retweeted me one time, which was dope. But anyway, let's get back to the
Next up, we got fight of the year thus far in 2025. This one for me was also tough because there is going to be some recency bias, I'm sure, and an obvious answer for a lot of people. Went a little bit different than I think a lot of people will go. I went JDM and Bilal. That was a freaking banger. They were swinging and banging, and it was a very close fight. I believe on most scorecards, I believe JDM won 59-58. Am I crazy? Or
What?
59.
You are crazy.
You know what
49, 48.
49-48. And
I still don't think that's right. 48-47.
yeah, you're right. 48-47.
He got me fucked up
Yeah.
too. Yeah, he got me fucked up.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. 48-47. I think one judge had it 49-46, maybe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But to me, that was just the best fight of the year. The stakes for it was a title fight. A lot of people did not have much faith in JDM to get it done. So, yeah, I'll take that one. Knuckles, what do you got?
A solid pick. Mine is the obvious one because it's one of the best fights that's like literally ever happened to me. Again, I guess I was the only one that shared this sentiment, but I legitimately thought it was like top 5 fight of all time, and it was Royval versus Van. I thought it was one of the best fights I've ever seen. Period. Like live watching it, it gave me, and I was telling Squared about this the other day, that it gave me the feeling of when I watched Lawler and McDonald 2 for the first time. It just had that same feeling where it's just like these guys are just going at it, and it was 3 rounds of nonstop action. Now I know a lot of people will be like, well, they didn't really mix the martial arts. So it was just a straight up like kickboxing match or whatever. Then you don't understand MMA, but that's okay because there's variables and you don't have to fucking grapple the whole time. But anyway, I could get into that all day because people are gonna be like, oh, just watch kickboxing. It's not the fucking same because you can't clinch, you can't grapple. Like there's not the threat of that. That's why it's different because at all moments you have to be ready for a shot. People don't fucking understand that. Anyway, getting heated because I hate people that are just like, oh, watch kickboxing. It's not the same, you stupid. Anyway, it's Royval versus
Dude, you just got yourself so mad.
because I'm
You
thinking
did it to yourself. Yeah. You get yourself so heated.
I was thinking of people. But also my side shout out is Marab versus Umar. That was a really good fight too. So, but
it doesn't compare to kickboxing though.
Anyway, yeah, Van and Royval is my fight, and it's gonna be my fight at the end of the year unless something very special happens. But Squared, what do you got, man?
Those are all great choices by y'all. Even y'all's backups were great picks. I am in agreement. My number one pick would be Van versus Royval, or Royval versus Van, I guess would be the correct way to put it. I mean, that's just like, how do you not pick that? And of course, recency bias again is a thing, but 317 was a great card, so it's got a lot of moments. But I've got a feeling that maybe 3 or 4 months from now, if you ask me what was the best fight in the first half of the year, I'm gonna say it was that. That was just a banger. That was you don't get those that often. They stand out to you for a reason. I will say my backup was JDM versus Bilal, or Bilal versus JDM, I should say, once again. But because that was just a really good competitive fight, and y'all know that competitive is my number one criteria for a good fight. But I also want to throw a second honorary mention, a third that people are seeming to, for some reason, forget was like a fan. Like, no, I don't think anyone's saying it wasn't a great fight, but people just like are forgetting about it. And that's Volk versus Lopez. That was an incredible fight. Very back and forth. Both guys had some really good moments. Beautiful fight. So
banger.
Hey, can I throw another one in there too that I didn't get to see live, but Squared put me onto it and said check it out after the fact and watch it. Sadikov versus Moto, like that.
Yeah, that was insane. That was insanity. I loved that one.
It was and it didn't go the full fight, but also one more I want to give a shout out to before we move on.
Bro's gonna name every fight that's happened this year.
Goozy, bro.
Hell yeah.
Come on, let's give a shout out to Alvin Hines.
This is what I'm talking about. Everyone's saying like it's been a shitty year in MMA. Dude, we just had like, not counting that one, I think we just had like 5 contenders for like fight of the year. Obviously, at least to me and you, Knuckles, one stands out among the rest. But like a lot of contenders for fight of the year. You don't usually get that many.
To be fair, the first like 3 months of the year were pretty ass.
Okay.
I think that's why like I said what I said about like this being.
What was the Seattle card? I feel like that was pretty early in the year. And that was a good one.
We'll talk about that later.
There were so many bad.
Okay, a slow start, but everyone's like, "Oh, dude, the UFC is dead." Really?
No,
really?
No,
I'm not
dude.
I know y'all aren't saying that, but that's what I'm addressing is those people that are like, "Oh, it's dead. It's in the shitter. It's this."
Yeah.
Yes, some of these cards are absolute dog shit, like brutally. Like this card did not need to exist. But we just had 3 banger pay-per-views.
Well, if you look, and the thing is,
it's not. I don't know. People are just blowing it out.
MMA fans overreact.
And I'm not trying to look at the numbers. The UFC, they have been lazy as of late. They've been lazy. They could do a lot better in a lot of aspects. Promotion.
Trevor Peake should be on UFC Nashville.
Yeah, well, he's injured. That's the issue with that.
Oh, okay.
But if you look at the numbers that the UFC are doing on their YouTube and their Instagram and everything else like that, it matches, if not exceeds, all previous years. And that's the thing. But people want to say because the UFC doesn't put out numbers anymore for like what their viewership is, people are just automatically saying it's dead. They're just going off of what their brain says because
it just blows my mind.
The UFC just puts a bad look on themselves when they just say, "Yeah, we broke our gate record this week," and it's like that's because you charged
ticket
more fucking price, higher ticket.
It blows my mind when we'll have the last 3 pay-per-views and the good fight nights we had, and then we'll have one admittedly absolute dog shit, shouldn't have even been made, stinker Apex card, and then you get on YouTube the next day and it's all these talking heads being like, the UFC is cooked, like we're done, and like it's like, guys, no.
In their defense, they haven't been to the Apex in a while, have they?
Not since
I don't know,
but they're back in August, so
a long time. It's been a while. So
yeah.
I hope there's
that's why they've been doing a little bit hotter lately. Still some stinker cards. They're bound to happen here and there. Doesn't matter.
But do you notice though, like if you look at the numbers are so much different from Apex cards, like on YouTube and shit. Apex cards versus fight nights, like actual fight nights. Like here's the thing, they could put the Nashville card in an Apex just because of who the headliner is, but you're going to get 10 times more views because it's in Nashville. And also, like, those matchups are just set to, like, a lot of them are set to, like, I think several of them are going to end and finish, but that's just both.
Next weekend, baby.
But if it was on an Apex, if it was in an Apex
shirts.
If it was in an Apex, nobody would give a fuck. That's what I'm saying. Like,
we'll be wearing our bench burner swimmies.
I mistyped it when I told my sister to make him put shorts. I'm just going around in bench burner shorts.
Just some khakis with like a bench burner logo randomly.
I want Hoochie Daddy
paint shorts. It just says BBS across our ass.
Yeah, bench burner or big booty shitter or what is that? Brazilian butt. I was trying to make something out of that. Big booty shitters. There we go. Big booty shitters.
Big booty shitters.
If it's on the ass, big booty shit.
All right.
Big bubbly shitters.
Oh God. Max, go on. Move on. Move on.
Next one we got is best KO of the year so far. And I think this might be, if I had to guess, I think this might be unanimous. And I'm okay with that. Because, I mean, I feel like the answer is objective. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll talk about it. But for me, it's definitely Mauricio Ruffy knocking out King Green with that spinning heel kick. I've got to go that. That's all day long. I mean, anytime, it's very rare that it happens these days. Most spinning heel kicks do not land, and that one landed flush and just totally slumped the dude. The way he fell was just disgusting. It was a beautiful knockout. I've got to go that one. Knuckles, what do you think?
You're an asshole for that setup, by the way.
Why?
Continue, Knuckles.
Honestly,
Because I was right.
I don't like. Yeah, probably yeah, probably. But honestly, like the one that I think of just because of how disgusting it was, Cesar Almeida versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan.
That was my 1B.
And if it's not that, I'm just gonna go. People might disagree with me, but I'm gonna go with what I think, and that honestly, it is. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I'm trying to freaking navigate here. But honestly, it's probably Ricky Simone versus Javid Bashrat, like that knockout. Because also, like, I think about what it was, where we were at. Bashrat was supposed to beat Ricky. It was on one of the better events of the year, and I just thought it was a very beautiful hook. I know, like, some people might not. I mean, even you could fucking even argue and say that the Topuria on Oliveira, just because it's a 2-3-2 and the way that it was set up, how he set it up, because of he had been setting it up with his movement. That's the thing, is like, if you're a technical guy, that's the best one.
It's also
Agreed.
the most viral knockout of the year,
Yeah.
so it's going to get some picks for
Like,
that.
Dude,
like-
just the walk off. The walk off
it's-
for Ruffy. Like, didn't even have to follow
Yeah,
up. Sent that spinning heel kick and then just said, see you later.
My official answer though is probably Almeida versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan. It was
That
like,
was my 1B.
I thought that man was fucking dead. Like, for a second, I was like, oh shit. But a little shout out on the side. It's not like one of the options that I'm going to go with, but it's a shout out because I got to see it live and it was very fucking special. Was Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby, and the way that he did the fucking, like, knocked him out and went like that. Like, I was like, that was nice. that was nice. But yeah, but yes, your answer is probably what most people go with, and I can't disagree with it because it was a very, very pretty, sensational knockout, and we all know that Ruffy's probably going to do some more crazy shit like that in the future, and I can't wait to see it. Square, what do you got, man?
So mine was Ruffy, and I'm going to pull a B out of my ass because I didn't have a backup for this one. I'm going to go with RoboCop knocking out Hermanson, because y'all know how much what my top criteria for a knockout of the year is, like, just the pure violence of it. And that
Live
one
leak
was
video. Yeah,
extremely, not even with the really unnecessary hammer fist at the end, just a very violent knockout, very, very stiffened body, just down on the canvas. Beautiful violence. So that I'll go with that one.
Yeah. Cool.
There's been a lot of violent shit this year. I mean, just like thinking, like, Bakoyev, the way he knocked out Reese with that, like, ground shit that he was doing. Dalby Brown, Krylov. Oh, Reyes pulling the Conor McGregor on Krylov.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you bonking Sergey. You remember when you bonked Sergey the bonk and fucking face planted? That was a good one. I'm trying to
Didn't Salakin get a nice one this year?
Sadikov?
No. Fuck, what's his name?
Salikov.
No, I'm thinking of the Australian and Asian dude.
Sal killed. Yeah, he
killed.
knocked out
Sal
fucking.
killed.
Do not redeem.
He got one that was.
Please do not knock me, outsider. He
Well,
knocked. Wait, when did he knock out Jubilee?
Jubilee.
Yeah.
And
knocked him
round
out early
one,
this year.
round 1, 19 seconds in. That was very Conor
Yeah.
McGregor-esque too.
Yeah. John Silva knocking out Meslik Bogdasarian after he fucking dapped him up. Like, that was pretty good too. That was a good one.
Oh, I thought of a good one. When did the what's the Chinese girl that she like her parents don't know?
Oh fuck, was that this year?
When did that happen? Was that 2025?
2045?
No,
Is that what I said?
You said I thought you said 2045.
I don't know. I time hop sometimes. It's all right.
He's a time traveler.
Hey, actually, it wasn't like the most aesthetically pleasing knockout, but to me it was we got to give a shout out to RDR with the knee to the body, low key, pretty good. That was good over Nickel.
When was that posted? 7 months ago, so maybe right at the very beginning of the year, but probably not. Maybe late last year. She got a fight coming up.
Gautier's knee.
No, that was November.
Okay. Gautier's knee to that fucking Medina, the guy that doesn't even belong in like he's so bad he doesn't belong even in LFA. You guys remember that? The guy that just kept every time Gautier would hit him so fucking hard and he'd like be like that and he'd be like, "What? That didn't hurt." And then like he just knees him the fucking knees him.
I just think you look at the matchup, Ruffy versus Green. I think I picked Green, and Green just totally fucking.
I didn't pick Green because he's been on such a fucking.
I mean, dude, he murdered him right there in the octagon. That was just a spinning heel. A spinning heel kick KO just has a different vibe to me.
I think the reason, like, I'm high on it, but I'm like maybe not as high as everybody else, is because look at King Green's style. He backs up to the cage. He keeps
I don't think that matters, dude.
When you don't have your hands up around your head,
yeah, but it was still a crazy KO. Like, I don't think that matters. I mean,
look at Drew Dober. Drew Dober backed him up to the fucking
Michael Chandler KO'd Tony Ferguson, and I think I don't know. I don't agree with you there.
Let's go. Let's move on to the sub.
Well, can I give one more shout out because I just remembered it. I had to go back. I'm watching it right now, but if it's as good as I remember, I think it was more satisfying than anything because I hate Memphis. And Barlow's coaches were talking a lot of shit from the corner, but Sam Patterson knocking out Barlow.
That was a good one.
Dope.
That was a good shot.
There's been a lot real good. Yeah. That was fun. He hit him with one of these and then popped him. So why I oughta.
All right. Well, next category.
That transatlantic voice too. Why I oughta.
Well, the next category we got is sub of the year. For that one, I'm going Gian Silva over Bryce Mitchell. Ninja choke. I feel like you got it almost.
Good pick.
Subbing a grappler is always impressive, especially when you're known as a knockout artist in the UFC. And he showed in that fight to me that he has multifacets to his game. And it was against the first real top tier competitor that he faced. And a ninja choke is just also badass and not hit very often. So I'm going to go Gian Silva, ninja choke over Bryce Mitchell. What do you think, Nux?
That is a very, very good choice. It was going to be my first pick. And then I remembered also PFL allowed. Can I make a PFL pick?
Okay.
Are we good with that?
Yeah.
No, I fucking hate. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Jake Hadley hitting the Scottish Twister over Matos or whatever his name was. That was very nice because again, Jake Hadley's kind of really known as I thought he was known as a striker, at least from what I've seen. I know he has some grappling, but every time I see him fight, he's always banging. Yeah, but that just it was really impressive. I know he's lost recently, so it is what it is. But I just at that time I remember thinking UFC let him go because. I don't remember why. I thought he beat Cameron Smotherman, and then they were just you're not getting re-signed by or something like that. And then he went to the PFL, and I thought he was going to fade into obscurity, and then he hit that Scottish Twister, and it was really nice too. Now this level of competition, maybe you got to wonder if it was there or not, but still very nice because it's a very hard submission to hit, especially for a guy I didn't really realize was that elite of a grappler because didn't Durden give him hell or didn't Durden beat him? I think right, yeah, Durden beat him right.
I think so.
So there's that, but my 1B is Marab subbing O'Malley with the like weird modified. I think it was like a Darce or north south.
Yeah.
I think it was a north south choke or something like that. But cool because Marab doesn't finish people, and it was just cool to like literally. He was just sitting. I remember they were just sitting in the position. Then Rob's like you could see it like in his head almost turning. He was like, "Oh, I've got a choke here," and he was like, "Okay," and then hit it, and I was like, "Yeah." So yeah, Marab's chokes 2B or 1B, and that's because it was. But you could put it over Hadley's just because of the level of competition. But yeah, very good choke.
Mayrob's was officially ruled as a north-south choke, yes.
So I wasn't sure if it was like a Darce or a fuck. There's like 15 chokes you can hit from that
Anaconda,
position. I feel like
Ninja.
Anaconda. Yeah, it's just all how you have your arm positioning. But I wasn't sure what it was. Squared, what's your pick, man?
Mine for this one was Leon Edwards losing to Sean Brady by
That was my 1B.
yeah mounted guillotine. I think it really propelled Sean Brady not just in the rankings but just in like the general standings of the division. How people viewed him in the division showed that he was like a very serious threat. It was the perfect cap off to a really great performance. If we had done a performance of the year
Oh shit, we
category, that would have been my performance of the year as well. I mean, he just went in there and just dominated the former champ, the number one ranked guy, became the number one ranked guy himself. Beautiful submission, beautiful It's the kind of grappling that it's like if you can't watch that and get excited for grappling, then maybe you should stick to kickboxing because you don't like this shit. Then like, that was just I loved it. Took Leon to deep waters, and you could see it in that choke. It perfectly like encapsulated the hell that he had put Leon through to get him to that moment. So that's my pick. My B would be Marab's. Just because kind of what you said, like him getting that finish, it kind of just like showed like, oh, like, yeah, he's really getting better. He's getting better as time goes because Sean didn't look half bad. He looked better than he did in the first fight, and he went out there and finished him.
Little off topic, but did you guys see that Mayrob said, "Yeah, I can't spar with Ilya anymore. He dropped me twice in training
with body shots."
Yeah, with body shots.
Yeah.
I think. Hey, just a real quick little side note on that too. Sean hurt Marab with body shots late in the 5th round of their first fight.
Maybe that's the key.
So I'm like, I mean, don't get me wrong. No, Ilya fucking hits hard. So, but
so does Sean.
Little secondary. I also want to give a shout out. It's not like one of the picks, but Terrence McKinney, a guy who, I've had some beef with on Twitter. Sorry, Terrence. I shouldn't have tweeted what I tweeted.
He has me blocked. He's the only fighter I think that has me blocked.
Dude, he's the only fighter. Well, Deacon Anderson also has me.
Had Slava claws flopping like a fish.
Dude, that like, and his face was like. You guys remember when Alexa Grasso had Valentina in the choke and her face turned? Slava Claus's was like 3 shades deeper than hers.
Slava Claus, he thought, dude. You know what it reminded me of? He thought he was Volk versus Ortega.
He thought he could shimmy out of that.
He thought he was Volk. He thought he was. Yeah, he thought he was.
Wasn't it only? Didn't Terrence only have? It looked like he only had one arm in, right? I think the other arm might have been.
No, I don't think so.
I thought he had it tucked and like his body was trapping it, and the other arm might have been free.
I think he had a pretty good grip on that, but
I wasn't sure.
Regardless,
I mean, I've seen one-arm guillotines get finished.
That's really the only way to escape a mounted guillotine is just to fucking flail like a fish. So, that's what Volk did, and it just worked.
I'd freak the fuck out. I'd start screaming. Ah!
Next category we have is going to be the event of the year thus far in 2025 for the UFC. And for me, that is going to be easily UFC 317. I know it's recency bias. We've been talking about that all night. I have stayed away from recency bias tonight, I feel like, for the most part. And to me, that is just far and away. I mean, I was excited for damn near every fight. There were obviously some duds, as there will be for any card. But, I mean, you just had so many finishes. You had Van versus Royval. Obviously disappointing a lot of people, but the knockout at the end of the night from Ilya Topuria. It was an awesome card. I mean, it's the best one of the year for sure. International Fight Week never ever never disappoints, and it certainly did not this past weekend. And I think that it is definitely the card of the year for me so far. Knuckles, what do you think?
Well, it does disappoint because last year, if we remember, Conor McGregor pulled out of that one, and a lot of people paid a lot of money for that, and
It was
saw
still a banger
not,
card, though.
I don't say saw not what they paid for, right? But anyway, yeah, no, it's 317, undoubtedly, 100%. Everything you said, beginning to end. The worst fight on the card was Cortez versus Arujo, and that was still like not a terrible fight. It wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't terrible. And what you could say that the second worst fight on the card was Guzzi versus fucking Denise, and it's like that was a banger, you know. So we got everything. I mean, we got Peyton Talbot comeback. We got Guzzi making his debut and looking great. I mean, and shout out to Denise and that. We got Delgado, knocking out Hyder Emil the way he did. We got Jack Hermanson getting sent into the abyss. We got I said Peyton Talbot already. We got the knockout in the title fight, the top title fight between Topuria and Oliveira. And then we got Pantoja showing why he's the best. Then we got one of the best fights in a long ass time between Royval and Van. Just a lot of stuff to take in, a lot of stuff to absorb. Terrence McKinney and Slaviclaus. Dude, it just top to bottom, it had everything. It's one of the best cards I've seen outside of 300 in the past like 2 to 3 years. It's one of the best cards I've seen in the past 2 to 3 years. It was just very, very good. And just want to give a little side shout out on the side. UFC Seattle, mint. One of the best fight nights I've ever seen. Just plain out fight night. Almost
sour ending though.
Yeah. Fuck you, Henry Cejudo. Anyway,
That was a doctor stoppage, wasn't it?
Yes, weird.
Very
Herzog made it go to the fourth round just to get a decision type thing. It was weird.
Yeah.
For me, it's 317. There's no doubt about that. But I want to give my shout out to 315. I feel like a lot of people slept on that one. A lot of great finishes. Ended with I think your pick for fight of the year with JDM and Bilal.
That was my 1B.
Yeah, so that's my honorary mention. That was up until 317. I was like, people are sleeping on this one for fight of the year, or sorry, not fight of the year, for card of the year. It was my card of the year. 317 happened. It took a back seat.
Just out of the main card, there was only one finish.
Mike Malo's electric knockout of Charles. Crowd going wild. Some good competitive fights.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
Just Andrade getting.
I'll say Jasmine Jasavicius.
Marc-Andre Barrios KO over.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot.
Sliced Bruno Silva's head open. Supposedly
no.
It looked like it.
Got the pleasure of getting, or got the pleasure of seeing Brad Katona get knocked out. I mean, there's some bangers.
First time in his career too.
Hell yeah! Anything else on that one, boys?
Nah.
Nope.
All right, bet. So now we're going to Breakout Star of the Year. This one to me was an interesting one because it kind of depends on how you interpret it. I feel like the number one obvious answer is Joshua Van. He's having a year like Chimaev had in 2020, where he's fighting 2 weeks' notice and coming in here and putting on banger performances. Obviously, he will not be able to fight in 3 weeks after that fight, but to me, it's Joshua Van for sure. But my honorable mention, or I guess 1B, I do want to just go ahead and throw this out there because, like I said, it's an interpretive category. I feel like, to me personally, the number one breakout star of the year might be Paddy Pimblett. And the reason I say that is because, yes, people have known Paddy Pimblett. They've known who he was. They've seen him fight a few times now in the UFC, and a lot of people knew him in Cage Warriors as well. But the reason I say Paddy Pimblett is because he finally did it. Like everybody, especially after the Jared Gordon fight, was very much. And then he fought, I think, King Green and Tony, and everybody was like, "Oh, this guy's a fraud. He's never going to be good. He's never going to be this or that." And then he goes out there and puts on the performance he did against who'd he fight again? Sorry,
Chandler.
Yeah, Michael Chandler.
Which, to be fair, people are going to discredit him for that too.
That's fair, but he did also gain a lot of fans for that. He gained a lot of fans, and a lot of those naysayers went over to the other side.
Became yaysayers.
Yeah, they became yaysayers. So
let a naysayer know.
To me, that is very much in line for breakout star of the year, especially when you have a moment of him coming into the to the octagon facing off with Ilya Topuria, and you already know there's beef there. They've beefed at press conferences many times. They've beefed on Twitter. They hate each other, so that just hypes it up that much more. Ilya Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett could be the biggest fight either at the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026, and I think that puts you right there for breakout star of the year, in my opinion. I know he's already well known, but that's going to skyrocket him, and especially his performance over Chandler. I just see that taking him to the next level, and that's probably my pick, honestly. I would say Paddy Pimblett. Knuckles, what do you think?
So like you said, Josh Van is definitely there, and I think that like that's the one that makes sense for what he's done this year because he's fought 4 times, won 4 times. But I'm thinking
3.
3. I thought he fought.
I could be wrong. I'll double check. I'll fact check myself.
I thought he fought 4 times. I could be wrong. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's fought a lot this year so far. But he's up there for sure. But I combine breakout star with the fact with like what you said, fan base and fight, what they do in the fight. And honestly, I think it has to come down to me to Gian Silva.
3.
3. Okay. But
he's supposed to fight Bruno Silva in March, but did not. Okay. Fought him again in June.
But mine would be Gian Silva. And the thing is, he's kind of like cooling off because he hasn't fought in a couple months. But I think for me, it's Gian Silva. But I do have a 1B to this. And when I say 1B, like it's tied in a way. I'll go to him in a minute. But my 1A is Gian Silva because coming off the Drew Dober win, like he gained some popularity, but he wasn't like a household name. He didn't fight again until February of the following year. So, we're talking about 6-7 months where he didn't fight. And then he fought Melsik Bagdasaryan at UFC Seattle, which was one of the better fight nights of the year. And just his showboating and the way that he does stuff really kind of started shining. And then he did what he did to Melsik. And then he come out after that and said he wanted to fight Bryce Mitchell. And then Bryce Mitchell made the comments that Bryce Mitchell made. And when he killed Bryce Mitchell, everybody was like, oh, yeah, he killed H word, a certain individual from the past. And so everybody's like super excited, because he did that. And I think it really like boosted his popularity, boosted the Fighting Nerds popularity. And I think the Fighting Nerds themselves helped boost him and his popularity. And I mean, look at it, dude. He went from fighting Bryce Mitchell to fighting literally the number 1 or number 2, or I mean, I don't know what Diego's ranking is, but the guy that just fought for a title at UFC Noches, so UFC Noche, which is going to be one of the biggest fight nights of the year. That's pretty big, man. To me, like that's what I would call breakout. But my 1B, and I highly doubt either of you maybe Squared might have thought of it. Malcolm Wellmaker, man. Just because coming off the Contender Series, like he had some popularity, but he wasn't super popular. The things people knew about him, that he's a blue collar worker, which is awesome. Then he came out to Kansas City, and I remember when he was walking out of Kansas City, the crowd, like I think he might have had, outside of Carlos Praches and maybe like one other fighter, he had the biggest pop. And everybody went insane, and it just felt right. It felt good. And again, this might be biased because I saw him in person, but then in Atlanta, one of the best walkouts I've seen all year. just him taking it in, soaking it in, coming out to an Atlanta native song, and just really pumping the crowd up, getting the knockout that he got out, talking after the fact, quitting his job as a welder, and or he was a welder or a construction worker. I don't remember which one. And now he's blowing up, man. And I expect a big fight for him in the future. Again, he's older. He's an older prospect. So I expect him to get a boost very soon. And shout out Malcolm Wellmaker. He's my 1B, but Jalen Silva's my 1A. What is Square? What's your pick on that, man?
So both you assholes were just snatching my picks out of thin air. Even if they weren't picks, y'all still said them. It's like, fuck, taking some heat off of me. So my number one was Van. I think that was a pretty obvious choice, going from 11 to 1, number one, and just in that fashion and the fight of the year, fighting very frequently, catching a lot of eyes. Hard to pick against him. He's my number one. My B was going to be Silva, Gian Silva. Just kind of blew up as far as popularity wise. But since y'all both said those names, I'm going to throw another one in. A name we had mentioned earlier. I'm going to throw in Sal Killed. I feel like I've seen him get some pop. He just kind of came onto the scene.
Good shout.
Knocked out a fella of a certain country that's not very popular on the internet. So obviously get some buzz for that. Just memes, things like that.
Angel Jubilee.
And then he does it to a guy from another country that's not popular on the internet. So a lot of memes coming from just this dude's career so far.
There's been some good ones.
I'm gonna make that my pick. That's actually hilarious. I never even. I mean, I thought of it that
he
way,
would make that his fucking pick.
That's really funny, actually.
I like that.
All right. Hell yeah.
Love that. Hell yeah, dude.
All right.
Those are some good. I like that breakout star pick that everybody. I like Max's because it was a little bit off the wall in its own way, and I like obviously Quillen. I mean, you can't get mad at that. So.
Yeah, I just think Patty finally proved it to people. So
that the way you said it, it makes sense. It does.
Everybody hated him after that Gordon win.
I mean,
quote unquote.
He still didn't really prove it to me because he beat Michael Chandler, but
Yeah, well, he fought the guy that they put in front of him, and he was a top tier guy.
I was gonna say I also said
Patty, but the way that Ilya would shut him off,
probably
hit the off switch on him would.
And we get to see that later this year because that's the fight that's going to happen.
I think that might be the next fight.
That's going to be big and it's going to be fun, but man, is it going to be a short fight. Somebody posted a video on X today or Twitter or whatever you want to call it.
Just imagine the world where Patty wins. It's going to blow up the internet.
It'd be fun.
He does have plot armor.
He does have insane plot armor, and he rises to the occasion. Even when he doesn't, he still wins.
Insane plot armor. His competitor, at least.
But it's just going to be the way he gets clipped in every single fight, or at least landed on. Like even Chandler landed a good one on him. If Ilya lands a good one on you, dude, you're going to die. You're going to sleep. No, you're going to die, dude.
I go back to the Luigi Vendramini fight where he just he ran in and boom, boom, and he was just eating them. Yeah, but he got hit so fucking much, and it's like that's Luigi Vendramini, bro.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Did he even have a Wikipedia page?
Exactly. He also went to the decision with the literal husk of Tony Ferguson. So.
Yeah. Got popped in the face by him too, dude. It's like, dude, if Ilya lands any of those on you, and I like that. Anyway. So it's going to be hard to watch that, but
it'd be interesting.
I don't like him enough that it's going to hurt me.
Right.
See, but yeah, I mean, just as far as right now goes, I just think he made a statement and kind of submitted himself like, I belong here. Fuck you guys that don't think I belong here. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Hell yeah. Well, that's been a hell of an episode, boys.
Yeah.
I guess we'll close it out. We appreciate you guys for tuning in to this episode. We do this shit for fun, and we love that you guys like to listen, people that do. So as always, we'll be releasing an episode next week for UFC Nashville, and also be on the lookout. Me and Square will be there in our Bench Burner Sports shirts. Excited to announce that we got those that we're going to be wearing for the event. So we'll be there. If you guys see us, say something. If you listen to the show, Mid-Year Awards is always a good episode. We have fun doing it, and it's fun to talk about. So we'll be back next week with our regular content, just talking about fights. And of course, we're going to do an episode on UFC Nashville. We're going to be there. So tune in next week when we come out with that one. Again, just appreciate you guys for all the support. I mean, you guys are fucking awesome. Our live episodes are just so much fun with the YouTube comments going off, and we feel the love and we appreciate it. So Knuckles, what do you got?
Sorry. Yeah, appreciate everybody tuning in as always. Fun little mid-fight awards. Sorry I was a little bit tired today. I still try to be hyped like I always am and talk too much like I always do. So just excited to be here, just excited to talk about fights, and I'm excited for the rest of the year because I'm sure it's going to be a continuously fun year. Notoriously, the UFC has always been better in the last half of the year. So if this is the first half, which again, the first few months weren't the greatest, but pretty excited for this last half because there's a lot of potential. Islam, JDM, Taporia, Patty, Tom versus any random heavyweight that he's going to knock out in like 5 seconds.
It's going to be Sturgon.
He's going to knock him out in 5 seconds. So we got boys. We are
knocking out Sturgon in 5 seconds, but I do think
submitting him in 5 seconds. Sorry, submitting him in 5 seconds. Correct myself. Anyway, I mean, if he takes a dive like he did against John, it'll be pretty easy. But anyway, yeah, guys, I'm excited. Excited for this last half of the year, and just happy to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Square, take her away, buddy.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one. It's always fun to talk about that, kind of reminisce on some of the highlights of the year. So I enjoyed that. Hope everyone watching enjoyed it as well.
There you go. You cut out for a second.
I'm good now. Maybe I was messing around with the wire. My bad. Saying that it's always fun to talk about the highlights of the year and kind of reminisce on them. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Follow us on our social medias, X at bench_burner. Everywhere else you can think of at Bench Burner Sports. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think. What are your picks for all these categories? Fighter of the year, KO of the year, sub of the year, event of the year, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Love you.
Well, everybody, we hope you have a good night or a good day.
Nobody said it back. What the fuck?
Whatever time you're listening, and we appreciate you guys tuning in as always, and we'll be back next week.